Welcome back. Hello, hello. So glad you're here. We're going to talk today about the homecoming, how women rise when they finally choose themselves. It's not as easy as it sounds because it does require so much awareness here, but to reclaim your confidence and to expand from within, game changer. So we're really not trying to be better performers. We're not trying to prove anything. We're just being. We're just in it to do because it's in us to do, right? I talk a lot about like the infant. The infant's not like peering into the windows of the neighbors. Oh, their toddler, walked before I did. No. They're just rolling over, crawling, standing up, balancing, walking, running. Like there's just a natural progression to what they do. And it's what you did. You did that. I did that. Everybody has done that. And, I had 5 kids. Some walked sooner than others. Who cares? They were in their own perfect timing. And I feel like the older we get, the more we're looking around the room, right, in the world, on Instagram, on Facebook. We're looking around the room to see who walked faster than we did, who got to their goals sooner than we did. How far behind are we? You just can't. You can't live in your timing, in your space doing that. You just can't. There's going to be stress, pressure, comparison, jealousy, all the good stuff, all of that's holding us back. And that's all externally oriented, right? That is our eyes looking at what we like to call reality. It's like, what else is happening out there that I haven't done with myself? And honestly, it's a waste of time and energy. It is. We'll just name it. Because you know what? You're a brilliant woman. You have your own gifts and talents. You have your own purpose in this life. You have your own contributions to make, your own gifts to develop. Can we just celebrate that for just a second? You're magnificent. Like there's nothing wrong with you. Did you have a rough path to get where you are? Yes. Was it the best thing that ever happened to you? Yes. I will say that unequivocally. Because like even having parents that had no idea, maybe even no business, raising kids were the best thing for you because you have the gifts and the talents and the contributions in you already to deal with it, to learn to do it differently. And that experience is called coming home. It's coming back to yourself. It's coming into connection with God, because that connection right there is the only external connection that is going to really move your life forward. And it's not really even external because God is in you. It's right here. Like this is where you are going to flourish the most. And I know sometimes we can be our own worst enemies. That is not the goal. Nobody told you to do that. If your parents weren't nice to you, if they put their pain on you, then that might have been the very first thing you learned how to do. Like, oh, I'm the problem. I'm going to put more pain on me. I'm going to make my life hard because that's what they said. They made my life hard. I'm going to make my life hard. And now we're a cohesive family, living according to the family rules that I have to be hard on me. Because my mom was hard on herself, or my dad was hard on himself. And so naturally, I would be hard on myself. So isn't that funny how we just like bring these things into our lives, these ways of living and these ways of believing and these ways of treating ourselves? So the whole point is to reverse engineer this. The simple version of giving you an example on how to reverse engineer patterns that have shaped your life is when I realized that going up one more dress size was just going to lead to me going up one more dress size and one more dress size. Like, when was I going to stop going up a dress size? As soon as I decided I wasn't going to go up a dress size, that's when it stopped. When I was thinking, I don't want to buy bigger pants. Because if I do, what's going to stop me from outgrowing those and buying bigger pants? And then do I really want to start a journey in fat loss from those bigger pants? Or do I want to start a fat loss journey from the bigger pants I'm already in. It's kind of an interesting concept, but guess what? I reverse engineered the bigger pants problem. I decided that if I could get uncomfortable one pair of pants at a time, I could get comfortable one pair. Sorry, I didn't do that. I didn't say that right. If I could get uncomfortable one meal at a time, I could get comfortable one meal at a time. It's not rocket science. It is reverse engineering the problem. So if we have a self-doubt problem, if we have a can't be loud and bright and shiny in the world, if that's the problem, because we're supposed to stay quiet or humble or meek or all those misperceptions of what we're really here to do in the world. If we're having a problem and we're not growing anymore, because the whole point of being alive is to expand. Growth and contribution are the highest needs of the spirit. If we're not doing one or both, we feel stuck. We're not growing anymore. So that is one of the things that we're trying harder, but we're not getting anywhere. And so, you know what Yoda says, like, do or do not. There is no try. Trying doesn't, like, we're like, well, I'm trying to be more positive. I'm trying to be more confident. I'm trying to do better. It's not, because the belief is that the thing that's holding you up, because your nervous system's not going to go towards something it's not safe with. And it's not safe to be bright and shiny. It's not safe to be confident. It's not safe. Like, your nervous system's like, no, we don't know who that is. We don't know who she is. We've never been her before. So we're just going to go back to, the things that have made us feel safe and secure, which is hanging out with insecure people. But what if hanging out with secure people was the goal and you still felt insecure? How are you going to do that? You've got to reverse engineer it. You have to reverse engineer the problem. Here's the thing. Food was not the problem. I was just eating junk. It was the quality of food before I started eating high quality food. So one meal at a time, I got uncomfortable eating low quality food. That's, chips and ice cream. But when I ate high quality food, then it was chicken and vegetables. Like, my body knew what to do in either case. My body knew to store fat eating low quality food. And my body knew what to do with high quality food, and it would burn fat. Isn't that interesting? So it's the same thing with our thoughts. Exact same thing. Like, if we have low quality thoughts, we will stay insecure. We will stay in a place of feeling like freedom has to be earned, and I'm just going to have to try harder and expend all that energy doing something that gets us nowhere. Trying harder. Instead of doing, instead of being, or deciding not to do something, because then you don't have to try at all. If the thing isn't for you, you're not going to try and do it, right? If you're trying to do something because it's out of obligation, you think it's what's expected, you think that you won't be liked if you don't, yeah, exhausting. Stop doing that. That's the do not of the do or do not try. Do or do not, right? So don't do that. But do the things that you're called to do. And in order to do that, you have to have higher quality thoughts. The higher quality thoughts are, how bad could it be? The higher quality thoughts are, so what if I become better? So what if I'm seen? Am I going to die from it? No. The answer is simply no. What if I'm heard? What if they hear me? Are you going to die? Absolutely not. So what's the worst thing that could possibly happen if you get out there and do your thing? Nothing. Nothing is the worst case scenario, really. Unless you're going against yourself, I wouldn't recommend that. But if it feels like, gosh, I would really love to have this experience. I'd really love to know what that's like. I would really love to step into that gift. What's the worst that can happen? I'll tell you, the worst thing that can happen is that you don't allow it. That's the worst thing, because then you just never step into the person that you were meant to be. There's no homecoming, because homecoming is a remembering that, oh yeah, I am built to do this thing. And I don't care what anybody thinks about whether I do it. If I dress different, if I speak different, if I totally come at it with a different angle. If you are in, I don't care what anyone else thinks, you're just going to do it. It's the do or do not, right? There is no try. You're just doing it because it's fun. It's like rolling over, walking, crawling, all the things. It was just fun. Your curiosity was taking over. It was in you to do. So the one thing that you can't see is your nervous system and whether or not it's allowing you to do the thing that seems like it's probably not safe to be seen, to be heard, to express yourself so without care, not carelessly, but without care of what everybody else is thinking. When your nervous system is not on board, you're not going to do it. You're not going to go for it. So how do you get your nervous system on board? Where your energy goes, your peace will flow. You know how they've said that over the years. And so what that is actually saying, if your energy, if your permission slip, if your allowance, allowing yourself to have an experience, and even if it feels a little bit scary, even if it feels unfamiliar, that you keep telling your nervous system, you keep communicating to your nervous system, how about now? How you feeling? Do you need a hug? Do you need some reassurance? Do you need some nurturing? Because there is a way to nurture your nervous system. That's through the vagus nerve. It's the biggest nerve that runs right through your body. And if it's feeling a little unsafe, uncomfortable, out of the box, sometimes it's going to prevent you from having an experience if there's a hint, a sense, or a flavoring of your past. Let's say that you were put on the spot and you felt very embarrassed and hyper aware and the shame just rolled through your body for being put on the spot. And what if you're put on the spot now? 9 times out of 10, you're going to have that same reaction. We'll be like, stuttering and stammering, and all of a sudden we're like trying to prevent the embarrassment and the shame. Yeah, your body's going to do whatever it takes to keep you safe. So giving yourself permission to explore the unknown, to go towards something that you've never done before, but you want to do, is how you have a homecoming. It's how you live fully alive. You're not here to hold it all together. Pretend like it's all going fine, like you did the thing you came here to do, even if you haven't done it. It's not a masquerade. The mask can come off. It's kind of like thinking is like, okay, remember the fable of the king and his clothes? I can't even pull it together, but he wasn't wearing any clothes. Some, magical sewer in the community was supposed to be, sewing him a beautiful outfit. And the king's like, you're not putting any clothes on me. But nobody else was saying there's no clothes because they thought the king thought he had clothes on. So they weren't going to go against the king. Like, this is the game that we play with ourselves, that we think we're supposed to show up a certain way. We think we're supposed to do something a certain way. We think, and no one's going to say anything because they think it too. But you're actually wearing a masquerade, and it's not a masquerade ball. You're putting a mask on, and nobody said you had to have a mask. But the mask is hiding our insecurities, right? The emperor's new clothes. That's what it was. The emperor's new clothes. And it turns out he wasn't even wearing any clothes. But he's walking around like he was wearing clothes. And that's sort of what it's like when we come home to ourselves. We stop pretending that we're wearing the clothes. We actually just go get our clothes on and we're not waiting for someone to tell us, so, you don't have to act like you got it all together if you don't. Because most of us don't. It's the don't of living life that we don't really talk about. And so it's really hard to come home to ourselves when it's like, well, that would be a little too exposing, a little too embarrassing, but the emperor's clothes, that was embarrassing, that was exposing, but he had decided in his mind that he wasn't embarrassed or exposed because he thought he was wearing new clothes, and nobody was brave enough to say, you know what, you don't have any clothes on, let me help you. Gosh, when we invest in the idea that we have to do something a certain way, it has to look a certain way, it has to that's exhausting because it doesn't have to be done a certain way. Like when you do what you're born to do, your body's going to feel safe. If you are looking for validation from other people because you're going to hold it all together and make it look like you got it together, it's the opposite of living fully alive. So why are we hiding? Why are we masking? Why do we put our nervous system on that kind of a journey where we're afraid that people might find out we don't have it all together? We're afraid that people are going to think a certain thing about the way we're living our lives that they might not approve of. Why are we putting our nervous system through that? We really, really need to pay more attention, care more about how we feel than what other people might think of us. So hustling versus homecoming, trying hard versus truly living, force versus the woman that allows, performing versus the woman who feels, and self-abandonment versus the woman who leads from inner safety. Those are all ways that we can flip the scenario from what has felt uncomfortable into a new feeling of comfortable. I tell a story about how I went into a mastermind group pretending that I was like this fitness guru. I knew stuff. I was good at my job. I was competent as a hormonal fat loss specialist, but I thought they were better than me. I saw them creating all these things when my marriage was falling apart. And so I took myself down mentally. And what that did was it put my nervous system in hyperdrive. So I showed up and I performed and I became the person that I thought they needed me to be in order to belong to this group. There was no inner safety. There was all the performance. There was forcing myself to try and show up instead of allowing myself to just take a step back and be truly transparent. It was a lot. And in the middle of that conference, the wheels just came off. Like I went into freeze mode. I was seeing spots in front of my eyes. I got nauseous. It was a horrible experience because I was so afraid of being the only one in the room that couldn't perform. And at the end of this meet and greet, where everybody gave their 30-second highlight reel of everything that happened during the year, making money, building programs, opening brick and mortars, etc. And I had nothing because I was trying to manage what to do as a newly divorced person. That was really hard. But when I stood up, I was like, well, I have to say something and I can't lie. And my nervous system was just tanked. I was so exhausted from being in fight or flight, freeze and fawn. And I was like, what have I got to lose at this point? What? So I just stood up and when it came my turn and I was like, I'm just kind of here to learn from everybody. I'm not technically in fitness at the moment. My family's falling apart. I don't know what I'm going to do next, but I appreciate being here. And it was something like that. And I sat down and I thought I was going to pass out. I had spots in front of my eyes. I was sweating from every pore. Like it was not pretty. And that is the product of a dysregulated nervous system times 10. It was bad. And I thought I was going to get booed out of the room because everybody else just had nothing but good news to talk about. And the guy that was running the mastermind stood up, is like, all right, everybody, thank you for your highlight reel, but this is the reason why I opened up this mastermind. And there was a standing ovation because I admitted that I didn't have it all together. That was not the goal. I could have done without the standing O if I had something to report, but I didn't. And so he's like, let's pull back the curtain. Let's get real. Let's talk about what's really going on behind closed doors. Because everybody has a nervous system. And sometimes we're listening and we're moving in a direction where we're helping ourselves feel safe, doing the new thing. I mean, it's no small thing to open a brick and mortar, to write a program you hope people will like, to put yourself out there in the world. It's not that easy. But if you can feel safe doing it, it's a lot smoother. And then you feel your energy return when your nervous system is regulated. You feel clarity coming through easily. You have confidence, and it feels very natural because naturally we are very confident. We're competent. Like when we learned to crawl, we were incompetent until we became competent. And then that wasn't enough. So then we learned to stand up and walk. And then we were incompetent at walking, and then until we became competent at walking. And then we wanted to do it faster. And so we started to run. Like, you will always go from incompetence to competent, but that doesn't mean it's scary. It doesn't have to be scary. If it's scary, your nervous system's like, no, we are not taking a chance doing that. Nope, nope. But if you can feel confident, because how bad could it be? Just go out there and do your thing, right? You might get the standing O from you because it feels so good to actually do what you came here to do, to be the person you were meant to be. That might be just being a happy, cheerful person. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to climb the corporate ladder, or you have to get an award, or you have to, appear on TV. It just means that you are so happy being you. You are the happiest person you know, and you're your favorite person to hang out with. Like, that's where we start. But when you feel the joy showing up and life is growing because you are growing, that's everything. Now, we have had the exact homecoming that we set out to have. That was the point of living, is to see yourself show up without all the extra chaos and all the extra noise and all the extra second guessing and all the other looping patterns that keep us feeling small and stuck and, self-soothing. So here's your invitation. I invite you to have a homecoming of your choice. I invite you to rise into the woman that you were always designed to be. You have the gifts, the talents, you have everything you need already inside of you. There's nothing more that you need other than a nervous system that is in agreement with giving your life a shot. That's all you need. And if you want help with this, give me a call, hit me up, click on the link below at the Empowered Woman's Journey to Freedom. I am here for you because your happiness is my favorite thing. So until next time, thank you, my friends. Bye.